Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be discussing a topic because I've gotten a lot of questions where people have asked, how do I get back into the swing of fasting after I've stopped fasting or after I've started the refeeding process? How do I get back into the swing of fasting? So we're going to be looking at that today. We're missing a piece of the puzzle. You start getting healthy and you just become a better person. We need to start focusing more on the individual. Okay, so this is a pretty popular question, and I decided to kind of go through some of these frequently asked questions and do videos on it because obviously I've got a lot of videos and it's hard to kind of sift through all the information. So I want to rehash some of this stuff. So if you have started fasting, because a lot of times what happens, they will start fasting, they're really excited about it. And typically they're motivated and they can get through their first long-term fast, whatever you might consider a long-term fast, 3 days or more. All right. And so you're very happy about it. You start the process of eating again, and then you have a hard time getting back into your second fast, or maybe you do, 4 or 5 fasts, and then at some point in time, you stop, you take a break from it, and you have a hard time getting back into it. There's a couple ways that I think you can kind of help prevent this from happening. At the end of the day, there's a good possibility that this is going to happen. I think the important thing to remember is that this is a journey, right? So during a journey, you're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to stumble. I mean, that's just what happens. Beating yourself up about it is the worst thing you could do. Thinking of yourself as a loser or something like that is obviously just detrimental. So we have to change our thinking. We got to think about the words that we're using, especially when it comes to what you're calling yourself or someone that is close to you that you love or whatever. You want to be very careful about the words you use. So don't think of yourself as a loser or a quitter or a failure if you can't seem to get back going on your fast consistently. Just think of it as a journey and you're running a marathon and not a sprint. So with that being said, if you've got the mindset portion of it down, some of the things you could actively do. Number one, prepping for your fast. That's probably my biggest advice that I can give, is that you need to prepare for your fast. Your first fast you probably didn't prepare for because there was a lot of zeal and there was a lot of excitement and you were really, really highly motivated and you saw all the results everyone else was getting. It's kind of like when you very first meet a guy or a girl and you're really excited about them, you love everything they do, even the annoying things about them. And then after being with them for a while, you're like, oh, you really smack your gum all the time. That's annoying. When you're kind of out of the honeymoon phase of fasting, as I'll call it, you may need to start prepping for your fast, right? Because you're at a point where maybe you don't remember all of the amazing benefits of fasting. It's one of the reasons why I promote having a journal, because you can actually record everything that you're thinking at that moment of time. It's like taking a snap picture of your thoughts at that time. I went ahead and designed some journals for you guys. So this is a good tool that you could use. And this is one of the reasons why I did make this tool, is because you can remember all the things you were excited about, all the research you had done, the testimonials. You could just jot down your thoughts, and that will kind of help motivate you in the future when maybe it's not as prevalent in your mind. And you can use the journal for many, many different things. But just talking about how to get back into a fast if you haven't been fasting for a while, that's one good way to recall, the excitement and some of the benefits of fasting. But as far as prepping goes, what you can actually do is take 5 days to a week where you're only eating fruit, or you're drinking a lot of fluids. You're drinking or you're eating maybe like soup, more liquidy things that are very easy for your body to digest. So if you're going to be going for the fruits, you want the high water content fruits. Essentially what this does is it eases your system into the transition, because when you go from eating to not eating, that's a very hard line that you've created, right? So if you could kind of ease your body into it, it makes the process of fasting so much easier. I think one of the biggest mistakes we make is right before a big fast or whatever, we're like, well, I'm going to indulge because I'm about to fast anyway. I'm going to knock this stuff off. You might buy some pie, you might buy a pizza, you might buy a candy bar, whatever. You might have things that you typically wouldn't eat, but all it does is it's going to make your fast a little bit more difficult. It's going to make it more challenging. So if you know that you're the type of person you have trouble getting back into your fast, Don't do that. Take your fast seriously. Prepare for your fast. That's probably the biggest tip I can give you. Another big tip that I can give you is to, okay, so when you did your very first fast, you might have had a number in mind. You might have said, oh, I want to do 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, whatever. And you might have hit that goal, okay? You may not have the mental fortitude to continue to hit that goal. Things happen, our mindsets change. It doesn't matter. There's all sorts of reasons why. You might not be at that point anymore. So you may want to consider starting off slow, okay? And this kind of takes you back to the beginning where I kind of recommend that you start off with a 3-day fast. 3 to 5 days to start off is golden. If you could hit 3 to 5 days and then work your way up from there, that's great. If you can't do 3 days, do 1 day. Do 1 day. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, oh, I can't get past 1 day. I'm like, okay, well, just do 1 day. Like, don't set your goal for 3 days or 4 days or 5 days. Do 1 day. If you could do 1 day, you could do 2 days. Also, another big issue that I think I see a lot is people will, let's say their goal is 3 days. They get to day 2, all right, and they want to break their fast because they feel like it's unbearable. Well, we have created these really hard lines for what fasting is and what fasting isn't, and we really need to work on blending those lines a little bit because it's not beneficial, right? For you to say, okay, I'm going to do this water fast where I'm only going to drink water and I'm going to do that for 3 days. But at day 2, you feel overwhelmed. You feel like you're going to fail. So you just decide to have a pizza. Okay. That's not what you want to do. Instead of having these super hard lines, like if I'm not going to do water only, then I'm just going to have pizza. Right. How about you just have some fresh squeezed juice instead of eating the pizza? Because if at the end of the day, it is a mental thing, especially on like day 2 or 3. A lot of times it's more of a mental thing. Yeah, you're going to have the hunger pains depending on how you choose to fast, but it's more of a mental thing. You just want to eat. Well, if you have some juice, and I definitely recommend fresh squeezed juice. If you have some juice, it'll take your mind off of the hunger pains because that juice will actually stop the detox process for a short period of time. And it'll give you, the opportunity to continue your fast. You just have yourself 12, 16 ounces of juice. You will feel much better, especially if you're going through detox symptoms and things of that nature. And then you just keep on going. It doesn't matter if you have juice every 2 days during your water fast. You're still doing it. It's still going to be beneficial. Where it's not beneficial is if you just say, oh, I'm going to do 3 days. And then you get to day 2 and you're like, I can't do this anymore. And then you have pizza. And then for the next 2 weeks, you don't attempt to do anything. That's not beneficial. So the 2 days that you did were a complete waste, right? So it's much better to have a little juice or even have a piece of fruit, maybe some watermelon, something with really high water content, than to just be like, oh, I'm just going to have pizza. I failed. I'm going to give up. I'll start over. Stop doing that. Like, stop starting over. One of the things that differentiates somebody who's really successful water fasting and someone who isn't is lifestyle. Right? If you decide that you're going to make fasting a part of your lifestyle, then it's not like, oh, I mess up one time and I failed. I'm a failure, right? Because we're not perfect. We're human beings. We're going to make mistakes. It's a journey. If you think fasting's a diet, if you think it's something quick you're just going to do, then yeah, you're going to feel like, all right, I'm going to do this 30-day fasting challenge. And then when you don't complete the challenge, or if it gets too hard, you failed and it's a challenge, whatever, no big deal. You know what I mean? I'll try the challenge again later on. It's not a challenge. I know a lot of people like to call it a challenge and, whatever motivates you. But I think that calling it a challenge, especially based on, all the challenges and things that are out there now, you can find all these challenges on YouTube. They're one-time deals. It's like, oh, I'm going to do the hot pepper challenge. And I do it. I completed it. Boom, I'm out. This is not that. This is, I'm going to decide that I want to live a healthier lifestyle. I want to heal my body on a very deep and rich level, mentally, physically, spiritually. And I'm going to change my habits over time to reflect the decision I made to be healthier. That's what this is. So this isn't a challenge. This isn't something you do on one time. If your goal is to do a 30-day fast one time because you want to lose a few pounds for your birthday, then you might run into some of these problems, right? But here's the thing. If you drop 30 pounds or whatever it is, or if you you have an ache or something, right? And you fast long enough for that ache to go away, but then you go back to your regular habits, eating, whatever it is that's causing the core issues, then that problem's gonna come back. Why would you want to yo-yo like that? Like, I never really understood that. So, I mean, I don't know if you actually feel that way or if you're just not aware. Like, fasting's not magic. So you can't just fast for 30 days. Oh, you get rid of some issue or you lose a certain amount of weight and then it's gone forever. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, right? Because the decisions you made is what caused you to have the problems in the beginning. So as long as you keep making those poor decisions, the problems are going to come back, and essentially you're wasting your time. So that's a big thing. You want to change kind of how you look at fasting. All right, so I just wanted to kind of quickly go over that. I hope you found something helpful. I've got a ton of videos. One of the things I've noticed is, I get a lot of questions where I've either touched on it in another video. Sometimes people will ask me questions that are actually the title of videos. Like, hey, I'm not having a bowel movement on my fast. What's up with that? I actually have a video that's like, that's titled, talks about bowel movements or whatever. So I would encourage you guys to go through, check out my playlist, my libraries, things like that, and so you can get more information. With that being said, make sure to check out the Facebook group. We are almost at 20,000, and I'm actually revamping the website right now. We've got a lot of new things going on, so come check out the Facebook group. Make sure you check out the website at ahealthyalternative.org. Pick up a notebook, pick up a bracelet, pick up a t-shirt, support. I'm also on Patreon as well. I've got some exclusive information on Patreon. I don't post super often, but I've got archives of information that you guys can go through, stuff that I haven't yet shared on YouTube, so it's kind of exclusive in that right. Well, that's it. That's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power, and I will see you guys next time.